Have you ever stopped to think about what it really takes to build something as massive as a tractor from scratch? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of automobile manufacturing and zoom in on one absolutely critical role that makes it all possible: the sourcing engineer. A tractor isn't just one big piece of metal. It's an incredibly complex machine made up of thousands of individual parts. Everything from the engine block down to the tiniest nut and bolt. Every single one of those components has to come from somewhere before it can hit the assembly line. And that's exactly where sourcing comes into play. The entire manufacturing chain hinges on getting the right parts from the right suppliers and, of course, at the right price. We're going to use a real-world opening at Captain Tractors to break down exactly how this whole puzzle fits together. Okay, so let's get into it. We're looking at the role of an engineer in sourcing at Captain Tractors. They're a huge player in the automobile and agricultural machinery game. And this job, it sits right at that sweet spot where engineering, logistics, and business all meet. So, what does it take to be a sourcing engineer? What kind of skills and background are we talking about here? Let's take a look at the ideal candidate profile to understand the foundation you'd need for this kind of work. First things first, you've got to have a rock-solid technical background. We're talking a diploma or a Bachelor of Engineering in either mechanical or automobile engineering. It makes sense, right? You need a really deep understanding of the components because you just can't source what you don't understand. And experience-wise, they're looking for 1 to 3 years, specifically within the automobile industry. So this tells us it's a great spot for someone early in their career, someone who's got that foundational knowledge and is ready to step up and take on some serious responsibility. All right, now for the really interesting part, the core responsibilities. What does a sourcing engineer actually do all day? Let's break down the mission. For this particular role, the main focus is on what are called sheet metal commodities. Now, what does that mean? Well, think about the parts that give the tractor its shape and strength. Things like the hood, the fenders, and different chassis components. That's your world. You really become this central hub for communication. You're constantly collaborating with the design teams to figure out their exact technical needs. Then you're out there sourcing and evaluating vendors who can actually make those parts. And finally, you're coordinating with the procurement teams to get the deals done. You're connecting all the dots. But this job is so much more than just finding suppliers. It's about building and maintaining really strong long-term relationships with them. You'll be right in the middle of complex cost negotiations and running rigorous evaluations to make sure quality and reliability are always top-notch. So why is this specific engineering role so incredibly important to a company like Captain Tractors? Let's talk about the real impact you'd make and how it plugs into the bigger picture of production. Honestly, this role is a constant balancing act. On one side, you have to guarantee you're getting high-quality, durable materials that can handle tough agricultural work. But on the other side, you're always under pressure to keep costs down to protect the company's bottom line. The real skill is finding that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. And at the end of the day, one of your most critical missions is right here, ensuring timely material availability. Because think about it, any delay in the supply chain can bring the entire assembly line to a grinding halt. That costs a ton of time and money. Keeping that line moving is a huge, huge responsibility. So when you boil it all down, the sourcing engineer is the bridge. You're the crucial link that connects an idea on a design blueprint to a finished product rolling off the line. You're the one who makes manufacturing physically possible. So hopefully this gives you a clearer picture of what a sourcing engineer does using a real-world example. For anyone out there who's thinking, hey, that sounds like me, well, there are some very clear next steps you can take. If you're interested in this specific opportunity at Captain Tractors that we've been talking about, the contact information you need is right there on the screen. It's a direct line to learn more about the role and the company itself. So, to wrap it all up, being a sourcing engineer isn't just about finding parts. It's about being a vital component in the engine of a huge manufacturing operation. It's about taking on the essential job of driving the entire supply chain forward. The only question is, are you ready to be that engine?